Hola, hola, mi gente. Thank you so much for joining us today for our first PC Power Hour of the year. I hope that 2024 is treating you well. We thought it would be a great idea to kick off the semester with an overview of all of our programming and important deadline dates that happen throughout the semester. So please look at this session as almost like a calendar. We'll be going month by month in terms of what programming will be coming up and what deadlines you should be aware of and be looking out for. As always, you will get the PowerPoint and recording of this session in tomorrow's PC Power Hour so that you'll be able to have it for your reference. We have a lot to going on this semester and for this session. So I'm going to go straight into the agenda. So we'll start off with some quick announcements on the winter EVR payments, and then we'll talk a little bit about best practices going into this spring semester. And then, as I mentioned, we will be going sort of a little bit on a month-by-month basis, a complete walkthrough of all of the Dream.Us programming and important deadlines that you need to know throughout the semester for scholarship applications, renewals, career programming, and all these different types of important information that you should be on the lookout for. And as we always do, we will do a next month preview of what is going to be outlined in the PC Power Hour. And then we will end it with an open forum because we love to hear from you all. We want to make sure that we're getting your feedback, that we're getting your questions in real time and being able to answer all of those. So we definitely want to allow some time for your questions and that discourse. Some quick general announcements. As you all know, we did a major revamp of our website thanks to our great colleagues, Gabby and Sadana. That looks amazing. And one of the most important or like greatest features that we're proud of is the events calendar that we have, both for our scholars and partner colleges. So even though we're outlining all of the events and programs and deadlines for this semester, please make sure that you are aware that the calendar exists on our website. If you want information regarding any of these events or anything that TheDream.Us is doing, please make sure that you can click on any of these links and access those calendars and search for different events or just do a general search for what's going on every month. So make sure that you are aware of that and again, stay on post with that. In addition, we want to make sure that you are all staying connected and receiving our PC Weekly. As you know, our PC Power Hours are every month. And so we try to provide you as much information as we can for these sessions. But in order to just know exactly what's going on week by week, you want to make sure that you are staying in contact and receiving those PC Weeklies. Even the programs that we're going to be talking about today, as they roll out throughout the semester, those announcements will be made through with any additional links and supporting information that you would need through the PC Weekly. So if you are not receiving that, please make sure that you are on the list. If you have other staff members on your team that are not receiving it, please make sure that they know about this and are subscribed. You can subscribe to the PC Weekly by letting your relationship manager know if that you are not receiving it, or if you have a new member on your team who is not receiving it, and then we would be able to add them to our directory, which in turn will allow them to receive the PC Weekly every month. So we want to make sure everyone's coming in and also joining us for these monthly sessions for all of the information that we can provide. EVRs, as we close out the winter session, we do have a number of PCs that did participate in winter sessions with the scholarship program and submitted their EVRs for the winter. Some of those payments have already gone out, but there are a few that are still in process, and we expect those to all be finalized by February 2nd. So that should be the last day where all of the EVRs for the winter sessions will be sent out. That being said, it will take a few days to reach your institution's account, right? There's usually like 3 to 4 business days that depending on your bank, for you to be able to see those funds on your end. I do want to take a little bit of a pause there and two, and just say thank you again so much for all of your feedback in December, where we did a deep dive and really got your feedback on the EVR process. I want you all to know that we heard you. We took all of that information. Me, Hayne, and Elena have already met with ISTS, and we're working through a lot of your feedback and some of the processes to make sure that we could identify bottlenecks and really improve the EVR process moving forward. But Rome was not built in a day, right? So we appreciate your patience as well as we work through with completing this process and making it as efficient as possible. So on that note, spring EVRs are open right now. Please submit as soon as possible. The earlier you submit, relatively speaking, the earlier you'll be able to get those payments and get those student accounts cleared and stipends out to students. As we look back to best practices at the beginning of the semester, I have mentioned this a couple of times in previous Power Hours, but one of the things I found really grounding for my students at Hunter when I was working with TheDream.Us there was an email at the beginning of the semester welcoming students back to school for the semester, but really just providing them information on who their points of contact was, who to go for what questions. They knew that they could come to me for all scholarship questions. They knew who their career liaison was, and if they had any questions regarding that, who they can go to. And in addition to that, their tuition and stipend release timeline, right? And so that's going to be relative, right? Because we know that, you know, the deadline for submitting the EVRs this semester is February 29th. So even providing them sort of like a worst case scenario, right? If I submit the 29th, I should be seeing the funds somewhere in by the end of March, and you should see the funds post to your account early April, early to mid-April. Even that much of a general timeline for students is super helpful because they don't get antsy and say, well, why do I still have a balance? Why do I still have a balance? And they know that the money is forthcoming, right? You also want to include any information regarding specifics to your own programming at your campus that is important for scholars to have throughout this semester. Finally, I would say make sure that the scholars do not have holds on their account because the funding is still forthcoming, and that will prevent them from making changes to their schedules this semester, or even having difficulties applying for classes next semester, as we know that that happens pretty early in the spring semester as well. All that being said, I want to also highlight that the Opportunity Scholarship will be closing tomorrow, January 31st. It might be too late to do any new outreach for this, but what we do find helpful is as a final push, if you can reach out to the scholars who have already applied for the program under your partner college, and identify those that may have already started an application but have not submitted yet. You know, if there's just a handful, you can make phone calls and reach out to them and just sort of figure out where they are in the process, where they're getting stuck in the process, and see if you could assist them in submitting that. If there is too much for that, you may want to send a general email to them, just notifying them that their application still has not been submitted, and that they should definitely do so that they don't get locked out of this application cycle. And you may actually identify, you know, you may actually connect with a couple of students who thought they submitted already, and it's just sitting there ready to be submitted, right? So that final outreach is much appreciated. And could be really helpful in increasing your scholarship application numbers that are coming up. With all that being said, I am going to pass the mic to my colleague, Nicole Wesley, who's going to be talking about some programs that are already open, and you can start applying for them now and throughout the spring semester. So Nicole, I pass the mic to you.
All right, thanks, Chris. So we know that paid inclusive opportunities are high on our scholars' career needs. So we've created several career programs that PCs have already signed up for last year, but other PCs that are interested in joining can still sign up and participate in. And the great thing about this is that we are providing a large chunk of funds to participate in these inclusive paid experiential learning opportunities. So these two programs are our internship funding program and our experiential fellowship program. For each program, a partner college can receive up to $15,000 per program year, which revolves around the calendar year from us at TheDream.Us. We launched both of these programs last year, and for each program, we've had over 20 plus partner colleges that have participated in each program, and we've had over 200 scholars that have participated in these programs as paid interns or fellows. Next slide. I wanted to also share some of the great feedback we've received. On this slide, I'm not going to go through the quotes, but these are some of the great quotes and feedback we've received from scholars who participated in the internship and fellowship program. These opportunities are really important for our scholars and their career development and growth. If your institution is not participating in either of these programs, or you've had scholars that said, hey, I'm looking for a paid internship or a paid fellowship, we highly encourage you to sign up for either one or both of our programs so that your institution can offer paid inclusive opportunities to the Dream.Us scholars. Next slide. So for those of you that are not participating yet in either one or both of these programs, in a short nutshell, partner colleges would be providing inclusive internships and fellowships to our scholars with and without work authorization. If you sign up to participate in either of these programs, you would be responsible for promoting, running, and managing the program. I know that sounds like a lot, but do know that we've created a lot of helpful resources and tools to make this easy to run and promote to your scholars. Each partner college would also need to identify 2 faculty or staff members that serve as a program point of contact so that anyone at their institution or any scholars have any questions, the point of contacts have a good understanding of the program and how the funds can be distributed, what are the qualifications for an internship or a fellowship, what are the qualifications for scholars to participate in, and so forth. And then, as I mentioned on the last slide, each partner college can receive up to $15,000 per program year. Again, that revolves around the calendar year for each year that you participate. Next slide. So as you see here, these are the steps that an interested partner college would need to complete to apply to either or both of our programs. I would encourage you to also look at the link that you'll see in the chat in regards to the internship and fellowship program brief that also includes these steps on how to apply. Essentially, it's quickly reviewing our program's concept paper so you understand the guidelines of the program, the eligibility requirements for scholars and so forth, determining those program point of contacts, and completing a Qualtrics survey saying, hey, my institution wants to participate in this program. I do also want to briefly mention that if you're interested in the fellowship program, you do need to create a short 1 to 2 page concept paper outlining this fellowship program. And again, we have a lot of great resources and sample concept papers, as well as current concept papers of current participating partner colleges in our fellowship program. And if you do have any questions on either of these programs, you're welcome to email me. After submitting your participation application, you will receive a kickoff email within a week's time. And then I do also want to mention that the application deadline is a couple months away. But as I'm sure everyone knows, time can get away from us. And before you know it, the deadline might be quickly approaching. But do know that we encourage you to apply as soon as you're interested, so you can start receiving these funds and start promoting these inclusive paid opportunities to your scholars. Next slide. Another great career opportunity that we launched back mid last year is our Dream Builders internship program. So with this, partner colleges, you do not need to sign up and participate in. But with our Dream Builders program, this is offering paid internships to our scholars at alumni hosted sites. So what we do encourage with our partner colleges, if you know any of your Dream.Us alumni who are currently working at an organization, or they are self-employed and are their own business owner, encourage them to participate in the Dream Builders internship program, where they can create and post their own internship. We can promote it to our current scholars, and then the scholar would receive payment for participating in that internship and also receive mentorship from one of our alumni. So we've had a good number of alumni participate in this program last year, and we're hoping to continue that with more internship postings that are at our alumni hosted sites. Next slide. If you do know an alumni or two that you think would be great for hosting an internship, these would be the steps, or I would encourage you to share these links with those alumni. In terms of the requirements for our alumni to participate, again, they would be hosting an intern. They would have to be working at an organization or is a current business owner. They would supervise the intern and provide routine feedback. And they would have to create an internship posting and post it to the Parker Dewey platform. And then I forgot to mention that alumni would have a maximum budget of $4,500 per calendar year for scholar interns. And we have breakdowns of what that can look like. One of the links that you'll see in the chat. Next slide, please. All right, I think I'll kick it back over to Chris.
Chris, you're muted.
I knew that. I was just testing everybody. Thank you, Hayne. A lot of the stuff that Nicole just mentioned is already ongoing and is already in process, and students and PCs can begin to apply for them. As we kick off for February, I do want to sort of touch base on a couple of deadlines. So the first is the Success Convening 2024. We've mentioned this in the past. This is going to be a conference for practitioners and professionals working with undocumented student populations. And we are really looking forward to having as many of our partner college staff attend the conference, either as speakers or as attendees, as we continue to build our community and professional networks in supporting this population. The deadline is February 1st, so a little bit closer than around the corner. It's like almost right there, but it is you do have a last opportunity to apply and attend the event if you are interested. You will be able to find the registration link here, and the conference dates themselves are March 29th and March 30th. The conference will be held, the convening will be held at Rice University in Houston, Texas. In addition to that, in February, we do have our graduation stalls and pins. It's that time of the year. I am so happy about graduation now that I don't run it. Like, it's my favorite time of the year now. We do have graduation stalls and pins that we will be mailing out to our PCs. The application or request process will open on February 28th. That will be now announced in the PC Weekly for that week. So again, make sure that you are getting those PC Weeklies because all of this stuff is coming up, right? And that's where you'll receive the information and the links for these programs and these deadlines. I want to make sure that you are all aware we only do this once a year. We only mail out those once a year. So when you are submitting your requests, please make sure that you are submitting your request for both spring and fall semesters. I know that a couple of our PCs do have two graduation sessions, in one in the spring and one in the fall. So make sure when you are making this once a year request that you are requesting enough stalls and pins that will last you for the entire year. The deadline for submitting your request will be March 27th. That is a hard deadline because we need to make sure that we can provide the mailing information to our vendors in order to have those delivered to you on time for distribution before your commencement event. In addition, in February, we have our national application deadline, February 29th. Likewise, as the opportunity, we would love for you to do a final push for your application numbers. Because we have a bit more time, there is a month. If you can do some initial outreach and really reaching out to the scholars that have started their applications but have not completed, and really work a little bit closer with them to make sure that we get them across that finish line and get their applications submitted so that they do not miss out on this opportunity. That will be really, really helpful and really increase the numbers for your completed application numbers for this year. We are also bringing back our monthly immigration Q&A sessions. These are sessions that we do every Thursday, the last Thursday of the month. It's usually about a 45-minute session where we have an immigration lawyer who in real time can answer our scholar and alumni questions regarding their immigration questions, right? I do want to say this is general information that is provided and guidance on next steps regarding their immigration questions. We have had anywhere from 40 to 60 scholars attend these sessions in at once, so it is almost impossible to really go in depth in immigration cases for some of these. But our lawyers have been extremely great at being able to provide students some general guidance and a baseline regarding their immigration questions and where to find those next support services or next steps in answering their immigration questions or getting their immigration issues resolved. So the first one is kicking off February 29th, 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. In addition to that lawyer Q&A session, we will have immigration organization also provide additional resources and services across the nations that our scholars will be able to access primarily free or low cost. The additional sessions will be coming up March 28th and March 25th. Scholars do not need to sign up for these sessions. The Zoom link is open. All they need to do is click and will be able to join the session and ask their questions. While these sessions are scholar facing, and we really want this to be an opportunity for scholars to ask their particular questions, we do open it up to our PC staff. I think it's a great opportunity for you all to see what some of the most frequent questions are and issues are that our scholars are facing, and how the lawyers are sort of, again, advising them how to go through those processes. And I actually have seen one or two of our staff members sort of sit in the background and attend the sessions, and believe that that has been useful and helpful for our PCs to review as well. Spring 2024 EVR process, right? So as mentioned, the February 29th is the deadline for submitting your spring EVRs. They are processed on a rolling basis, so please submit as soon as possible. Like, you don't need to leave this session right now to go do it, but maybe right after this session, you can go in and go ahead and submit your EBRs. Um, as mentioned, Kane and I and Elena have been working with ISTS to make sure that they are working on any bottlenecks on their end, so that as soon as you submit your EVRs, there is a quick turnaround process in you receiving those funds to your college. But in conversations with Elena, we do know that there are some bottlenecks or little errors that happen on the PC end when submitting the EVRs. So she's provided us some reminders and helpful tips to help you complete your EVR on your end and help minimize or eliminate any errors that may delay the process. So first is there is pre-populated data that is highlighted in gray fields on the EVRs, right? The EVRs are somewhat automated at this point. So if you are changing that data, it will cause an error and will kick back the EVR to you. So one of the things we see most often is the college ID needs to be updated. If that needs to be updated, please make sure that you are not doing it in that gray area, but really using that first yellow column where you are allowed to put in your data and submit the new college ID for the student there. Um, Also, for cost of attendance, roughly about 2 years ago, we switched the process from requesting the full year of cost of attendance for the students on the EVR to requesting it by semester. So please make sure that when you are filling out that student profile section under the COA, that you are listing the amounts for the student by semester. We know that usually colleges will list that on their websites for the year. So if you are seeing it on a yearly basis on your website, just make sure that you are cutting that in half so that we are getting that information per semester and not for the year, because it will change the formula and the maximum award amount that we can submit for students based on their cost of attendance. So that is really, really important. Any edits or additions, you need to know once an EVR has been submitted successfully, it cannot be edited. So you can't go back to that same EVR and make a change because it will not re-record. Once it has been submitted successfully, it is time-stamped, and that sort of sits in that stage. Any edits that you need to make, whether it is adding a student that was missed or the information may have been inaccurate. Maybe you listed Chris Aviles as not enrolled when he actually was that semester. You will need to submit a new EVR report. So you will be able to download the EVR again and then submit that information only for the students for which you are making changes or add-ons, right? So when you download that report, please make sure that you are deleting all of the other scholar information and only including the students that need changes on that report for that updated version of the EVR. For those who don't have on-campus housing or dormitories, in for those fields, make sure that you enter the same amounts that you did as living with parents in the on-campus sections of that field. For course withdrawals, this is another area that we see some issues and a lot of errors. It should be, even if a student has withdrawn from all of their courses for this semester, they still need to be listed as part or full time, whatever amount of credits they initially registered for. And the reason for that is you need to list the number of credits for which that you're requesting tuition and fees, whether it be a full amount or a partial amount. We do need to see that amount. And if the system records that the student is not enrolled or has 0 credits, it does not matter if there is actually a dollar amount being requested, no payment will be calculated. Again, this is part of the automated system, and so we still need you to list the student as part-time or full-time, and again, any credit amounts that were initially the students registered for. You can follow that with a note in your PC Scholar notes for that particular scholar, letting us know that they've withdrawn for either some or all of their credits. You can find the EVR and full EVR instructions on our website in the program management section by clicking the link here. And for all other questions regarding EVRs, you can email Elena or Camila or the ISTS help desk by clicking either of the links here. We are also be bringing back our conference grants for scholars in February. The grants will still cover flights, registration fees, and up to 3 nights at the hotel. This year, we are looking at taking 4 group conferences, roughly 4 or 5 group conferences in major fields of interest for our scholars. We're particularly looking at maybe doing a new conference this year, somewhere in the realm of entrepreneurship or small business ownership, knowing that this is a particular focus for our scholars who do not have work authorization. Applications will be on a rolling basis based on when those particular conferences will be coming up in the year. While we are still working on that list of conferences that we want to attend this year, we do have one that we've already confirmed. As you guessed, it's the Success Convening in Houston. And as we mentioned before, the major purpose and focus for this conference is going to be for professionals and practitioners working in higher ed spaces and serving undocumented students. So that will also be our target group for scholars wanting to attend the conference and working in these spaces. The application will open February 8th and close February 23rd. So it is a short turnaround time, but we will be sending out that information. And if you know of any scholars who would be interested in attending the conference, please let them know that the application will be coming up. This is the application link. It is currently inactive, but on February 8th, that will be activated and you will be able to click on the link here on the PowerPoint and be able to get into that application process. Finally, the probably biggest change for this program this year is that we will not be offering individual conference grants for this year as we did last. There were not a lot of number of scholars who attended individual conferences last year. It was a lot of work and preparation, even for these individual conference grants. And so what we have pivoted to is really the impact and the association that scholars are having through these experiences. And so while we are not going to be doing the individual conference grants this year, the focus will be on increasing the number of scholars who attend the group conferences. One, so that we have a bigger impact in the number of students that we are supporting, but also the association that they are seeing large numbers of their peers who are attending these conferences, going through sort of the same career obstacles and pathways and different opportunities available to them. And as a group can really connect and talk through their experiences in going through this process. We will also be bringing our career development events fund back up. I know a lot of you are pissed off at me. I still have a couple of payments that we are working through. It was a pilot stage last year, and I think we had a few hiccups with particularly the payment process. I think the PCs did great jobs at having these events and providing the information to our scholars. But we did have a number of hiccups through the payment process that we are working through. We learned a lot, and we have implemented a couple of new initiatives to circumvent those issues. We also have a new staff member. Big shout out to Nicole Mejia, who's actually been onboarded with us and will be helping us through some of these payment processes to make sure that we can get it done faster and more efficiently. So the program still will be a $2,000 grant to sponsor in-person career events on campuses with a specific focus on independent contract work and entrepreneurship. So basically work opportunities for those regardless of work authorization. If you are looking at having an event this spring or in the fall, apply now. Like even if you're doing it in the fall, you could apply now. You can secure your funding now. We will be approving these on a rolling basis, and you can secure your funding for the fall immediately. We do have the toolkit here, which you can click and get information about other events that have happened and get some ideas for your own events. And we are looking to building out the toolkit even further with our PCs that participated last fall and providing a lot of resources that they have used as well. In order to help circumvent some of these issues that we experienced this year, once we are approving the PCs, we will actually be providing a process where we can get the payments done at the onset of your event. So rather than waiting to the end and having a bottleneck there, we are going to try to tackle as many of these payments before your event even occurs so that we could avoid those issues. TheDream.Us, if you wish for your partner college to pay for everything and it's easier for you guys to pay everything and then have TheDream.Us reimburse you for the entire event, we can do that as well. Receipts will be needed for any payments that are going to be required. We do look to have a standardized $150 payment for any scholars that are going to be participating as panelists. And grants will only be approved for events that will be focused specifically on serving undocumented students, career paths, not general career fairs. Things that we cannot cover are like raffles or travel or parking. We can do giveaways that everyone participating in the event can receive, but we cannot do a specific raffle for one or two people who are going to be attending these sessions. More information will come on this next month, but just wanted to give you a quick recap on that. And with that, I will pass it off to Nicole.
Thanks, Chris. So some additional spring programming includes our spring ITIN and tax matters webinars. So we will be bringing back our UNLV professor Francine Littman, who's an expert in ITINs and tax law. She will be coming in and leading all three of these webinars. There will be two specifically on ITINs and how scholars can learn about what an ITIN is, how to determine if they already have one, and steps to apply. And then Professor Littman will also be leading the tax matters for immigrants. I'm sure I've heard from some of you that have been getting questions from your scholars about taxes, about certain forms, so this would be a great way for you to promote to your scholars, for them to attend. This is also open to alumni as well as our partner college contacts. So you are also welcome to attend these as well. And you can find this information and more on our online calendar on the website. Next slide, please. And then also as a reminder, we all have our ITIN website and handy handouts that you can find on our website. Last year, we did an ITIN campaign where we reached out to all of our scholars who do not have a social to educate them on what an ITIN is. We are also doing communication with our scholars again this year. For those of you that are unfamiliar with an ITIN, ITINs are a very powerful tool for undocumented individuals who do not have a social security number. They're issued by the IRS specifically for filing and reporting taxes. But ITINs can also be used to apply for an EIN, participate in inclusive paid internship and fellowship opportunities. I will note that the internship and fellowship programs I referenced earlier, a scholar does need to have a social security number or an ITIN to receive payment. So this can be a great resource for you to pass on to your scholars. We also have recordings from last year's ITIN webinars, as well as recordings from past tax matters webinars on this website as well. And next slide. And I'll kick it back over to Chris.
Thanks, Nicole. So I want to be mindful of time, and I think the rest of the month probably will go pretty quickly. In March, we will be doing the Opportunity Scholarship decisions. Notifications will go out mid-March. As many of you already know, once we email scholars notifying them that they've been accepted for the scholarship, they also have to accept the scholarship in order to solidify the approval process. So the deadline for them to accept the award will be in late March, right? So that's sort of the general timeline we have right now. Again, as we get closer to these dates, more information will be provided to you on the specific dates when those go out, either in the PC Weekly or direct announcements to you all. A general checklist for when those announcements go out. You should definitely review your applicant list to notify yourself of who has been awarded on your campus and who has not, unfortunately, received the scholarship. Verified scholars have not only received the award, but have also been admitted to your institution. Once you have sort of done that, please reach out to the awardees and ensure that they accept their award before the deadline. This is a hard deadline, and once that is passed, they will not be able to go back and accept the award. So we want to make sure that they are doing this in a timely fashion. If you notice that a scholar has been accepted for the award, but has not applied or been admitted to your college as of yet, please make sure that you're reaching out with them and making sure that they are submitting their application process as soon as possible. For the national scholarship, the announcements for that will go out in late April. And basically the same process. Scholars still need to accept the award in order to solidify the approval process. So as those announcements go out in late April, they will have until early May to accept the award and be able to officially receive the Dream.Us scholarship program. Likewise, the checklist, you should be reaching out to you should be downloading your applicant list and identifying who has received and not received the award, reaching out to scholars to make sure that they are accepting the award. And if not admitted to your college, please remind them that specifically for the national, this is not the same as Opportunity. They do have until the spring 2025 semester to enroll in your campus and still be eligible to receive their Dream.Us scholarship. And May and June, as you all know, this is the end of the year where we do our annual scholar survey. Please note this is a flyer that we took from last year, so the June 1st and June 22nd dates are not actual for this year. Those were the dates for last year. We will have those dates as we get closer to the month of June. And again, we'll keep you all posted. But as you all know, we are extremely data-driven organization. We value the data that we are able to collect from our scholar. No other organization like us across the nation can provide the amount of data and the in-depth data that Hayne and our data team collect from scholars to really exhibit our scholar experiences or their achievements for all different purposes, and even with working with our PCs to highlight our scholar experiences on their campuses. We've been able to provide you all data on this, right? So it is extremely, extremely important that our scholars are completing their annual surveys. So they should be hearing it from all angles, right? Like we're gonna send them the information and we hope that you all are doubling down on that. And if you're like talking to students, just remind them, make sure that you complete that annual survey because the information and the data that we collect, there's nothing else like it across the nation. And so it is super important for this to get done. And we have coupled that with our annual renewal process, which is also coming up in June. And so we sort of have these two surveys or renewal processes back to back. So again, hopefully encourage scholars to do them both and complete the processes to make sure that they are able to retain their scholarship. If scholars do not renew before the renewal scholarship deadline, they do lose their scholarship and have to go through an entire process, right? So that deadline is super crucial for them being able to remain eligible to receive their scholarship funds. Um, and with that, a little bit about next month's PC Power Hour. It will be Tuesday, February 26th, 27th, same time, same place. We will do a deep dive on the internship fellowship programs. We really, really want to encourage as many of our PCs to participate in these programs. We know the value that it is to our scholars, and we want to make sure that we are reaching as many scholars across the nation as possible, right? So we want to put a specific focus on that and really hear from you in terms of what you need from us to encourage your participation in these programs and how we can make this accessible to as many scholars and as many PCs across the country as possible. We will also put a little bit of focus on independent contract work. We've been saying that word sort of across the board, and want to hopefully provide a few more in-depth tips of how you can be working with your scholars who are looking at doing independent contract work either now or upon graduation. And I'm so also proud to say that we will be highlighting two of our PCs. Tamusa and San Antonio College will be presenting on their collaboration that they did in the fall semester utilizing the PC Career Development Fund. Not only did they collaborate with each other and were able to open the event to both campuses scholars, but they also worked with community members and just did a fantastic job of utilizing this funding to provide support and resources and guidance and information for our scholars. So hopefully they will be able to talk through a little bit about what they did last semester and hopefully encourage, again, more of you to take part in this program. I think we had roughly about 14 PCs be approved for a grant last semester. We want to see that number go up. We want to see 20, we want to see 25 PCs do events this year. And again, I promise Nicole is going to keep me honest and getting your payments done even faster. And so, we're looking forward to having that information presented next month to you all. And with that, I think we are done presentation wise, and we have roughly 15 minutes or so for open forum. Please let us know. I know that the chat has been going on as well, but please let us know what your questions are, your feedback on anything that was presented, or anything that you would like to see us present or talk about in future sessions. So with that, I open up the floor. You can either unmute yourself or raise your hand if you have a question or a comment. Miguel.
Hey guys, I have a few questions. They mostly concern the EVR. I just had one student who was missing. Um, he's a senior. Should I just add his information at the beginning because he has like a name, or do I need to do something else?
For that, I would recommend that you reach out to Elena, um, because we want to make sure that if the student is missing from your EVR, it may be that they haven't changed their own ISTS portal and they're being listed at another institution for the Dream.Us, and they're coming up on that institution's EVR, right? So in order to avoid any sort of mishaps or miscommunications, I would recommend that you reach out to Elena and Camila to verify why the student is not showing up on your EVR and make sure that we can correct that first So that way, all of the information particular to that student is on your EVR, and that you can submit it in advance.
And last question is, there are two students who are seniors who seem to be struggling. One looks to be a full sixth year, and the other has ghosted and is being dropped by the university. Is that something that I should put on the notes?
I'm sorry, Michaela, I missed some of that. You're a little fuzzy, and I didn't get the end of that question.
Apologies. So there's two senior students who are struggling. One looks to be heading towards being a sixth year, and the other is being dropped by the university due to non-attendance. Is that something that I need to put on the notes?
I would recommend that you do, yes.
Okay, just making sure. Just making sure. All right, cool.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you. Dylan.
Quick question in regards to the EVR. So, sort of in the same vein, if a student appears on the EVR still, does that mean then that the student was not academically suspended or removed from contention within your scholarship? Because we've been going back and forth on this at our institution. Some students are falling below a certain GPA, and it was under my impression that they would be then not eligible for the scholarship. Is it to assume that the EVR is the end all be all? If they appear on it, good. If not, I guess, should we remove them?
My understanding from Elena is if the student is appearing on your EVR, is because they are still scholarship eligible. So I would say that they are still eligible for the scholarship. It also depends when the student may have fallen from that GPA mark. We normally will do that annual process, and so if the student is below the GPA requirement in the spring semester specifically, they are not automatically removed from the scholarship program. They are given sort of like a academic warning, but allowed to continue through the scholarship as long as they improve or come above that GPA requirement before the next annual renewal process. And then if not, then that's at the point where we would academically dismiss a student from.
Perfect. That's what we had thought, that it was within the renewal period, but I just wanted to confirm that before making any statements to students or to the institution.
Yes, definitely.
Perfect. Thank you.
Not a problem, Dennis. Have a great day. And Woods.
Hi, yes, I know I'm Gabriela. I didn't put my name, sorry. I have a student, she already reached out to me from Hostos College, who is already registered. I know she did the process late to update information, but is keeping emailing me back and forth. What I can tell her, take a week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks. I wait for her before I submit the report because she's not in my report.
Okay, so she's currently at your campus, but she was at another campus and recently submitted the
Transfer student who's, as they assume automatically they're gonna change. When she came before the school started, she came to my office and I told her, no, you need to let them know, you need to do the process, and that way I can get information. But we did all that process already. My question is, because still she is not in the EBR report, I just open again right now. What I can tell her is, I wait for her before I submit the report, or I submit my report and I submit another one later when the things aren't clear.
Yeah, I mean, I think to avoid having multiple reports submitted, I think we can probably wait a little bit. We can maybe reach out to Elena and Camila, because I know that they have a ton of request forms that have come in during this period. So they may be able to highlight that specific student and sort of approve the process quickly, so that way you'll be able to submit the EVR in full. So that would be my suggestion, just so we could avoid submitting multiple EVRs.
That's perfect. That's perfect. So I will wait a little bit. It's not rush right now.
Gracias. Jackie. Jackie, I see you have a question. Feel free to unmute yourself. If you are having troubles unmuting yourself, Jackie, you can put in your question in the chat as well. In the meantime, I'm going to take Daniela's question.
Just really quick. I have a few applications listed as submitted, but the students are saying that they've submitted everything, and they're not showing as complete on my end. Are they truly probably still missing something that they are not seeing, or is it a system lag?
I'm sorry, Danielle. Like Jackie came in the middle of that, and I got a little. Could you just question?
Sure. In the applicant portal, there's students listed as submitted, but a few are saying that they've completed everything that they needed to do. Is there a lag in them showing complete on my end?
Yes. So the short answer is yes. The transcripts usually take a minute to review by ISTS team. Once the transcript is like reviewed and it's like in order and we can accept it, that's when the student's status will change from submit to completed.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Not a problem, anytime. Jackie, let's go back to you.
Let me see. Can you hear me or no?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Okay, all right, dope. So for students who have their cost of attendance for the semester covered by other aid, so state, institutional, private, how do we report that on the EVR if all of their tuition and everything has been covered and they have nothing left in their cost of attendance for either the scholarship or the stipend? How would I report that?
So the way the EVR is broken down, there are columns specific to each of those aids, right? Institutional aid. So all you need to do is list that and whatever the tuition amount is.
Okay.
You know, we usually will only deduct state aid from what the tuition amount is, and then provide the remainder from our scholarship, including the stipend. So even if the student has everything paid for, at the very least, through state aid, right? At the very least, they would still be able to receive the stipend, but you don't have to worry sort of all of those details. As long as you put in those numbers, the formula in the EVR will make that determination and will automatically make out that payment.
Okay, all right, okay, dope, thank you.
Not a problem. Dylan.
I should really remember this answer because I asked it last year, but I really can't. The difference between completed and submitted on the application, what are those? What's the difference between not submitted, completed, and submitted?
Yeah, so this relates to sort of the question we just had regarding, it's really the transcript, right? So any documents that the student needs to upload for their application needs to be sort of vetted and just made sure that it's clear and it's acceptable for the scholarship program. And that once that is done, that process is done, that's what changes the student status from submitted to completed.
Gotcha. So if they're still submitted or still listed as not submitted, then they're just missing everything. That's to assume that it's not even been processed or hasn't been even received.
Correct. If it says not submitted, that means the student has not submitted. And so those would be the students you want to.
Yeah, those, perfect.
Yeah, those are the ones you want to reach out to, definitely.
Thought so. Just wanted to confirm. Thank you.
Not a problem. Woods.
Yes, because based on the last week, I went to the report and I check everybody who is pending or accepting, no accepting, and I sent separate email basic and what they needed. And several students emailed back and they said, I already complete everything. Or nobody emailed me anything or said anything that I need to do something. The students check or not check emails, but my question is, when it's done, you guys communicate the students? How is the process? Because I get several emails, they said it, but nobody said this, nobody said that. And they were upset with me because I was pushing that, oh, well, you submitted, but here look like you still pending or accepted, or you still pending documents. I was sending different emails, and I didn't know what to say because I don't know your process, but I would like to have an idea. That way next time I can answer that kind of emails back. They send them to me.
So we do not send communications out to students as they go through the different phases of the stage, but students can always access that information through their portal. So they can go into their ISTS portal and they can see where, like, what stage they are in the application process. If there is an issue with their application, so like they reviewed a transcript and for whatever reason it wasn't accepted, then they will get some notification letting them know that they need to resubmit some information. But if they're sort of going along at a sort of natural pace, the scholars are not, targeted with specific emails or communications, but again, can walk through the process through their portal.
Means definitely we need to start checking this, and we always need to tell them, go back and check what's going on. Go back to the portal. I mean, you practically weekly check your portal. Let's see what's going on. But they said, and whatever they ask you to do, they start moving. That is something I never do. That is new. Honestly, I'm glad we discussed this because this is extremely important. They don't check. They don't go back. They don't even check our emails. If I don't, even when I put high priority, even with classes, they found in the classes being dropped after they don't have a class. That is the level that is serious. This means I need to change my strategy because they were very upset and concerned that nobody even told them. When they put the application, is any comment in any part that is you state to the students, we are not going to communicate with you. You must to keep on checking ISTS constantly after you start the application. Do you have that?
We do sort of make note of students when they're submitting their application that they should be checking it periodically to make sure that it's going through the process.
But you also have the comment that we will not send you any absolutely communication. Means if you don't check, you will not know. That maybe need to add it.
I don't know. I can't remember the exact language off the top of my head.
In cases, no, I think that was something we need to add it because.
I do know that we do remind them that they can and should be checking their portal. I don't know if we specifically mentioned that we will definitely not be sending out information.
They get so used to that they receiving information from every organization, from everything, from school, for everything, that in this case, I think is something as important that in big letters, we will not contact you. You are responsible for go back to ISTS and check. That will make a huge difference in a student response. That maybe is the part we're missing. That's why the students don't complete the process because they're waiting for you guys to tell them, yes, you did it. Go back now and accept it. And we didn't, and when we said it, it's sometimes too late. Maybe it's some improvement we can do it now with this.
Yeah, well, definitely. Thank you so much, Gabriela. We'll figure that out and sort of like see if we can work that through for the next round. Gracias. So I do think that we are just over our hour. So thank you all for joining us. Hopefully we will see you again for PC Power Hour in February. Please stay in touch. Please. Hopefully this was helpful for you. Hopefully you found some new programming that you are interested in engaging in. Go ahead. Don't even waste time. Go ahead and apply now. Nicole got you. She's awesome and can help you through that process. Have a good one, everyone. Ciao.